Jay James and his hands. It was in a national magazine.
What magazine was that?
It's called The Week.
I have been interviewed by so many people. It is startling. And while if you wait for a few other people to arrive, I can tell you unequivocally, I am just startled by the number of people who have called. I'm startled by the number of threats and boisterous complaints that have been made. And it's just stunning that, places like Access Hollywood and everybody that has been jumping on offering to pay for an interview, because we just said, no, we're done. That's it.
And I will pass off to you. We are now live. Thank you.
Okay, are we ready to go then?
Oh. Barb, this is Shane. I just want to let you know that I'm having trouble with my Zoom, so I'll just have to hang out here, in the dark. I'll just be listening through the phone, if that's okay.
I understand, Shane. I had that trouble a couple meetings ago.
I'm being honest with you. I haven't had this issue yet, but I'm having it right now. So we'll wing it. How about that? We'll wing it.
Well, we'll get started anyway. If I will call the meeting to order, and we will have the approval of the agenda, please, and say your name when you say that.
Shane makes the approval.
Oh, do we have a second?
Betsy,
Second by
second.
Pernick.
Betsy, all in favor?
Oh, Barb, we got to do a roll call.
Roll call.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Scott,
Aye.
LaFond,
Aye.
Pernick,
Yes.
Lackner,
Yes.
Garbett.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay. Now we can have public comments. Pam, if you're there.
Oh, hi. This is Pam Jackson. Do you want me to give my address?
Oh, yes, I think you need to.
Okay,
Please.
5736 Lancaster Lane, Commerce Township. And I've been in the library before, to help out students and just look around. It's absolutely beautiful. But I'm here tonight to learn how the library operates behind the scenes.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I'm all ears and I'm listening.
Okay. And do we have any other people who wish to speak? No. Okay.
So
Do we have any?
waiting?
Do we have any correspondence, Allison?
We have no correspondence.
All right. So would you like to give us the financial report, please?
Oh, you know what, Barb? We skipped the minutes.
Oh, approval of the minutes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, what a catastrophe. Betsy, what do you say?
The minutes, I proofed them, they're fine. I move that we accept them as is.
All right. Do we have a second on that?
Shane
I'll
will second.
Okay. Now, roll call again.
Okay, Garbett,
Yes.
Pernick,
Yes.
LaFond,
Yes.
Scott,
Aye.
Lackner.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, I guess we can try the financial report.
Great. So you guys got your packet at the end of last week. So hopefully you guys had a chance to look over it. So for the revenue and expenditure report. Okay, Garbett. So for the revenue and expenditure report for the period ending September 30th. So we're 74.86% of the way through the fiscal year, and we have spent about 58% of our budget. So I would like to point out to you guys, are there any, I should wait. Do you guys have any specific questions about anything you saw in there? Any concerns? It's pretty standard, or standard anyway for my short tenure so far. I did want to point out to you guys on the second page, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth line item is for furniture. And you'll see there that we haven't spent any money out of the $30,000 that we've budgeted for furniture. And just keep that in your mind because we're going to discuss it later in the meeting.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Allison? You've done pretty well with the budget so far.
It's been a
Okay,
strange year.
all right, then we'll have the administrative report. So Allison, how about your report as the director?
Sure. So as we discussed last month, we have expanded our internet services and we now have Wi-Fi hotspots in our collection. So basically these Wi-Fi hotspots, and apologies to you guys who are not on the Zoom meeting, but I brought one for show and tell here. They come in this nifty little case and it's about the size of a deck of cards. And this you can take with you. And it basically will power internet to your laptop or your iPad so that if you are camping or you were in a park or at your boat or somewhere else where you didn't have, you weren't able to hook up to a to just standard Wi-Fi, that you can have Wi-Fi to your phones. So luckily for us, we got these in the collection. I believe it was just last week we rolled them out, and almost immediately after, we heard from the principal at Walled Lake Central, who Walled Lake Central is having problems with their internet at the moment, or with their Wi-Fi, and he needed some internet access. He wanted to come here to use a computer, which he could do, but we were able to offer him a Wi-Fi hotspot, which was even more convenient for him because then he could work from his office. So that worked out. It's been working out really nice. We haven't done like a really big rollout of them yet, just because the staff are still getting used to all of the very long checklist we have to go through when we're checking them out to people. They only go out to people with a Commerce card. You have to be 18. Your card has to be in good standing. They sign something that shows what the replacement cost would be if they just decided to keep it forever. Although I will add, we have a login through AT&T, which is who we get these from. So if someone did not return it, we're not paying for them to have internet access forever. We can turn that off, but they would still owe us for the equipment.
How many do you have?
We have 10 in circulation right now. Yeah, so they're going to be nice. We're all relying on internet in ways that we never have had to before. So I'm glad that we can offer the service. And yeah, we're gonna see. I'm hopeful that they'll all, that we'll always have 7 or 8 of them checked out, but that we never have, so much through demand that we can't fill the demand. But those check out for 2 weeks for people. The other exciting news that we have is that we started the automatic renewal of items on October 1st. So this is really convenient for our patrons. So if you were to have a book checked out or a movie and you got to 3 days before your item was due, our system automatically looks at the item and it sees if anyone's holding for it, if you're over your fine limits, or if you've hit the maximum number of renewals. And if you haven't, then it automatically gives you an extra loan period on the end of it. So if it was a book, you would get an extra 3 weeks. So just last week, we had a patron who called and he was frantic, had all these kids' books to renew, and the staff person who was on the phone was able to say, she logged into his account and said, oh, we've automatically renewed all of this for you automatically, which is good. We all have a lot on our minds, and sometimes returning our library books isn't at the top of our minds. Yeah, so it probably will impact our fines. I don't think we're going to be bringing in as many fines. But really, the point of library fines isn't to make income off of them. The point of library fines is to give people, to encourage them to return their items on time. So I'm really excited about this. This was a decision that was made by all of the libraries in our shared system, and so far so good. We're really excited. I think it's a nice convenience for everyone. Let's see, what else is happening here? This today and tomorrow is the Michigan Library Association annual conference. So it's virtual this year, which is new and strange. And you know what, Cindy Berry just joined us. So it's 7:12 by my watch. Yeah, so it's a virtual, it was supposed to be in Kalamazoo. It's a virtual conference. I'm attending, and then 5 other of our librarians are attending. It's actually kind of convenient to be able to do it from your office. I am eating way fewer snacks than I would in the in the hall, and I'm not as cold or as exhausted at the end of the day. So there are conveniences in terms of that. And actually, the Michigan Library Association made the pricing on it was just a fraction of what it normally is. So that's nice, so that people can still participate, and it's fun to see familiar faces who we see every year, and just seeing it virtually this year. Here's to continue my show and tell. We had a patron who recently donated 104 pieces of his Waterford crystal to the library. This is from the same family that just left the library a lot of money in their trust. So this family asked if we would put this into the library and use it perhaps in the boardroom. And I said, of course, we would be glad to. It's really beautiful. This is not on my desk because I'm using it every day, though I'm tempted because it is very, very beautiful. But that was very generous of them. So hopefully we can have an in-person meeting and drink iced tea out of all of the fancy cups.
Now champagne?
Or champagne.
Okay.
Yes, because I miss you guys. And then the last thing I wanted to remind you guys about is that the Neighborhood Library Association, of which we are a member, is having its annual Community Reads wrap-up program, which is the Visit with the Author. It's on November 12th, which is a Thursday, at 7 p.m. If you guys are interested in attending, I would love to have you there. It's obviously on Zoom, like everything else is. So if you want to attend, just let me know and I will get you the link so that you can join us. The author is Burke Durf. Durf is his nickname. He writes graphic novels. So the graphic novel is Kent State for Dead in Ohio. So it's a nonfiction title that is very well reviewed. And other than that, that's all I've got for you guys, unless you have questions.
Anybody? Okay, how about the statistics then?
Sure. So we're looking at statistics from the month of September. We checked out 18,000 items in the month of September. Our daily average for visitors to the library is 171, which isn't half of what the old normal was for the library. So that's still I would say kind of coming back up. There are times where the library is pretty quiet. And certainly the people who do come to the library aren't staying for a long time. But one of the functions of the library in normal times is that we're a meeting place, and that's not something really that anyone's doing. So we love having patrons in the building, and this number right now is manageable for staff, and everyone's been really accommodating and understanding. Other than that, everything else is kind of standard. We've got the majority of our public computer uses with the adults. There really aren't any parents who are coming in with their kids to do either homework or to just hang out and play on the computers. I do have a positive public computer note. We have a patron who has been coming in since I started here. He actually followed me over from when I worked in Walled Lake, and I think he used both libraries, but we just helped get him. He started a new job. We were helping him apply for jobs, and he just started a new job. He started at 6 o'clock this morning at Meyer. So really excited. It's really fun when you get to help someone through that process and you get to see the end of it. So, the end of it for us was helping with new hire paperwork. And he came in yesterday and showed us his polo and his name badge. And so there are sometimes working at the library is really hard, but other times it's so rewarding like that. And that is why we continue to do what we do. Absolutely.
And maybe he's happy now.
I hope so. So we had helped him get a job last year, and with the pandemic, it kind of didn't, kind of fell through. So he was looking for a new one, and we're really excited for him. So it's wonderful. That's what we are here for. And then in terms of the programming, so the kids programming is almost all offline, which we have found. So the only things that we're doing online story times once a week. And then we're doing the Pizza and Pages book club is on Zoom, and that's once a month. But all of our other youth programming is in the form of take-home kits or online gaming. There's a little bit of online gaming. but we're finding that the families are more interested in the offline programming. I think they're all kind of zoomed out, which makes a lot of sense to me. And on the opposite side of that, every single one of our adult programs is done via Zoom, and those have been really consistently popular. So our English as a second language has come back, so we're able to do that. We're doing that in a small group. We did a knitting program. One of our circulation staff people is a wonderful knitter, and she did some virtual knitting instruction. And we put together little kits for the grown-ups, so they got knitting needles and yarn. And then Olivia taught them how to knit, which was awesome. And then we did a program about traveling. We had Sister Pie, which is a bakery in Detroit, did a demo for us, and then a program about women in the military. So looks like we had 90 participants in our adult programming in the month of September. Do you guys have any questions about any of that? It's a lot of information I just threw at you.
Allison, could I ask a question?
Sure.
Have there been any reports of illness among either the staff or the patrons?
There have not. So in terms of patrons, no, I haven't heard a thing. In terms of staff, the staff are being really careful. So if someone's not feeling well, it's not that they're coming in and not feeling well. They are staying home. We're really thankful for the Oakland County's Nurse on Call service. I have called a lot. Their number is now programmed into my phone, or we have staff members call. So if you say like, oh, I have a runny nose, you can call the Nurse on Call, and that person, you're going to give them your symptoms, and they're going to say like, okay, you need to quarantine for 2 weeks. You need to go get a COVID test, or you're good to go. So we've been relying on that really heavily. But I'm really impressed with how the staff, they've been really aware. They've been really careful. I think that they're all doing, I don't know what they do every moment when they're not at work, but I'm fairly confident that they're doing the right things. Everything that they have exhibited has been them being cautious, and wanting to keep the patrons safe and wanting to keep their coworkers safe. So, that's been great.
Well, if the proof of the pudding is in the eating, I'd say that you're to be congratulated that the protocols you're following have resulted in no infections, no apparent illnesses, and whatever the likelihood that someone's going to be infected, you're successfully avoiding all of that. And so to that extent, I think you and the staff are to be congratulated.
Thank you. That's nice to hear. It's certainly a stressor. It's just another thing to keep aware of, and I think it's probably, to an extent, there's 30 of us who work here. It's only a matter of time until someone, has a positive COVID test. And, if we do the right things, that it's, then ideally it's only going to impact that, that one person. So I do think we're
maybe not, but the fact of the matter is that you can approach levels of normalcy while still effectively protecting your employees and the staff.
Yeah.
The customers.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, we've been doing this. We've been open at the level that we're at right now since July 6th. So, and we do have peer libraries who have had to be closed. So, we're pretty happy with where we're at. I mean, obviously in a perfect world, we'd be doing, in-person programming and having a Friends of the Library book sale and all of that. But, that you guys have allowed us to kind of play this safe and to be cautious, but aware that, we still want to serve our public, I think has worked out really well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, anything else anybody wishes to say? Okay, we have no old business, I think. So we'll go to the new business to purchase requisition.
So I wanted you guys to see this before I had this put on the agenda for the Township Board of Trustees meeting for November. So essentially my recommendation, and I will ask you guys to give me your recommendation, and then we'll move it on to the Township Board, would be the purchase of a couple of items for the library. So one of the items is acrylic end panel signs. So those are just the square end panels that sit on the end of the stacks. So what has happened, and I've heard about it multiple times recently, And I'm not sure, I think part of it is COVID related, and part of it is just that I am newer, so that people are, they don't know me, so they're, going to tell me the things they wanted to change that maybe they told other people and it didn't happen. So, so there are only, the signs are only on the south side of the stacks, and people would like them on the north sides of the stacks. So if you're walking up and down the stacks, you kind of zigzag in between them. But that means, there's only signs every other loop through the stacks. So essentially they're asking for the signs on the opposite side as well, just for ease of browsing. And, one patron specifically said to me, I don't like to use the signs where they're at on the very south part of the stacks in the fiction area, because they're right up against where the public computers are, which is fair. So I asked Library Design, who did the interior of the building when the building was being designed, and who, was the source of the initial acrylic signs on our stacks, to price that out for me. So that was $2,391. And that's for 28 acrylic end panel signs. So that would be, it's in the adult fiction area, the adult nonfiction area, large print and biographies, and then into the media. So the DVDs and the books on CD. So that would be that consists of the 28. So that's what that quote was for. And then the second quote was for book bins. So essentially bookshelves for our board books. So the board books are the small books with the really thick cardboard that the little kids chew on. So those are super popular. They check out a lot. Parents of kids who are that age come into the library a lot. I think just for the variety of books in there, I see a dog nose. That was so cute. So those check out a lot. So as a result, we've built into our budget, that we're purchasing a lot of those books because they're popular amongst our patrons. But now we're in the part where we're having a space crunch. So previously we were purchasing some storage for that from a vendor, kind of on a piecemeal basis. They're bins, they sit really close to the ground and they don't hold much. And rather than keep purchasing those and kind of piecing this together, I did ask Library Design for a quote for the Peak book bin for 2 of them at the cost of $7,554. So obviously that is not inexpensive. And the reason that I went with Library Design and that I went with this is because the idea would be for it to match the books or the furniture that's already in the rooms. So those book bins, that book bin would be in canary, which is the color of our chairs. I actually have a picture on my cell phone here. I don't know if you guys remember, those are our chairs in the youth room. Yeah, so it would be bright yellow like that, like those chairs, and it would have the same sun cutout that our chairs have. So it would match the interior of the youth room. And then the bins, they're nice. They're more narrow for the than a standard bookshelf would be, and obviously a little bit closer to the ground because it's for the little guys. But it will allow us to grow the collection and allow us to have a hefty selection of the board books because those little guys really like them. So those are my suggestions. I don't know if you guys have any comments or if you think that should go ahead to go to the township board, or if you'd like me to revise it.
The township board might question the furniture. When I first saw the price, I'm like, whoa, but then I looked at the picture and I realized what it was. I mean, it does sound expensive.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And like, to me, the analogy is, we have some book bins, and I should have taken a picture of them so you guys can see that we've been piecing together. They don't match the rest of the room. They hold a fraction of the books, and they're kind of a space suck because they're really low to the ground. So they don't hold that many books, but there's nothing, above that, there's not multiple shelves in it. So I'm of the mindset, we have the $30,000 in our furniture budget for this year. I think it probably makes more sense to get the furniture that's actually going to fit the media, that's going to last, that matches. I mean,
It's a
when I
nice
think about
piece, it's a nice piece of furniture, so.
well, and to just get it now rather than probably spending the same amount of money where we're trying or we're kind of piecing together a solution for the next, 6 or 7 years. And we're, constantly, trying to balance the size of the collection, and in the ease of access to it and things like that. So I absolutely acknowledge that it is not an inexpensive project. And, if the board doesn't think it's time to do it, then they don't think it's time to do it. We'll make something else work. But I thought it was silly not to at least get the quote and figure out what it was and figure out what, I thought the best solution was for that area.
Anybody else have anything to say?
I guess I would just throw it out there for discussion. And nothing against the company that makes library furniture specifically. It is durable. It endures a lot. We've all seen that without a doubt. But, we went through this a while back, if you remember, when your predecessor was trying to find a specific coat rack and found it for $1,200. We were able to search the internet and find it for $25. And I don't know that the book bin would fall in that category, but it might be worthy of doing a little due diligence to see if we can find something that is suitable, if not identical, from a alternate source. And there may not be one. It's
I
not
don't
at
know
all.
if it would be as durable.
It's not going to be, it certainly, we wouldn't be able to get exact. So they are a dealer for TMC, which is a Michigan company. They're in Ann Arbor.
Right.
So I think I'm sure I could find other interior designers that carry this line, but I would assume that the pricing would be pretty similar.
It'll be very similar.
Yeah. So, with that, I don't know. I mean, I can certainly, we can get another bin. We can find other shelving. It's not going to match what's already in the room, right? Because we already bought all of that.
But with that
It's
said,
going to be here for 20 years. So.
But with that being said, I also, you can walk through the library and, when you look at those, the wonderful points, from the entryway to the fireplace is 100 yards. So unbelievable. We have an indoor space of that site, but you can go into the teen section and you can see what we brought from the old library on Martin Parkway, where it really doesn't fit. If the maintenance crew, bumps the benches, it blocks a door ever so slightly. So I'm a fan of doing it right and doing it once. So I'm certainly happy whatever the library advisory board would like to direct. I will carry that as a liaison back to the township board without a problem.
So if that's agreeable, then would someone like to make a motion to purchase those two items?
I make a motion to purchase the 2 items as described.
Do we have a second?
I'll support it.
Okay. All in favor of that? May
Oh,
we
I'll
have a
Roll call.
I'll do the call. Sydney can take
Okay.
okay, let's see here. Lackner. Shane?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
Thank you. Scott?
Aye.
LaFond?
Yes.
Hernick?
Yes.
Hiscox?
Aye.
Garbett?
yes?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Uh,
you, guys.
Anything else, Allison?
That is all that I have.
Okay, Dave, how about any board remarks?
Gosh, there's lots going on in the township. I will, obviously we always get comments and there's feedback. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is the new sticker that you will get when you vote this year. Compliments of Clerk Melissa Creech. She picked this out. I voted in the 2020 presidential election. It looks much more patriotic and fantastic. I can tell you that the clerk's office has exceeded 16,500 absentee ballots requested and distributed. And we're averaging 200, I'll say 150 people a day that are coming in, getting a ballot, voting on the premises, and leaving. It's phenomenal. As a reminder, we have the drop box on the east side of the building, built in like a mail slot. We have a drive up drop box and all these are under surveillance cameras and well lit on the north side of the building. And then if you so choose to walk into the building, we have a loose sight locked ballot box there. It is a phenomenal number of people who are participating. The turnout is just absolutely a fevered rush. Other than that, we are another day in Commerce Township. I did have occasion to do some follow up with the fire department, and I caught the fire department building something for a citizen. I think her name is Barb Garbett. They were told that they were asked if it would be possible in their spare time. And of course, the fire department does have some downtime, when they're working 24-hour shifts, to build a Parkside library box that would be a little larger than its predecessor because they needed some space to accommodate the tiny library in Millrace Park.
And here's the picture,
phenomenal.
Dave. Can you
Yep.
see it? Just
I
put
did.
up today.
They didn't put the logos or stencil on it yet?
Did they what?
Did they put logos or stencil on it yet?
They put the 14 on, and they're going to put the logo on apparently later today after when someone gets out of work who's doing the work.
All right.
So that will be very nice.
So that's where it looked like, but it's not a birdhouse. It's an enormous tiny library.
Allison could put her dog in it. It's big enough.
It's a pretty big one. But they were very, very flattered that you reached out to them for the assistance. They really took pride in getting this done. Thank you for including them in our community event of this sort. Otherwise, other than our election and everything that is just moving on at a fevered pace, everything's moving well. We have had some more problems that we've turned over to the sheriff's department for investigation. For some reason, we have just a plethora of graffiti turning up. So anybody who happens to follow us on a YouTube video and watch this meeting, we always purport that if you see something, say something, report it. Crime Stoppers, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, is eager to get that information. Please do so. And everything's moving forward. There's everything is going really well. To touch base on what Jason was discussing with Allison earlier on the health and well-being, the township board is so pleased with the staff inside the township, the library, the fire department, with all of the contacts that we have as a township in total. We have done such a phenomenal job in wearing masks, using gloves, keeping everything clean. We've had one recent incident where a spouse of a firefighter was tested positive. None of the children were tested positive, but we did lose one of our firefighters to quarantine on the behalf of his family for 10 days. But they're all back into work and everything is up and running. Quite phenomenal. So very, very positive. If there's a specific topic, because there's so much going on, I'm happy to answer it. I guess the one that I'll throw out there, just as that everyone is aware of, obviously we had a political sign that was booby trapped. It was laden with razor blades. It was placed in the road right of way. The sheriff's department is investigating. It'll be turned over to the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office for a review, and hopefully we'll be able to bring this to resolution. The biggest and most important thing that we have come out of this is alerting the public that, we want you to share your opinions. We want you to support your political candidates, but we also want to make it known we will not tolerate you booby trapping or doing things with the deliberate intent to harm someone. And again, that's one of those, if you see something, say something. Let's educate people, keep people safe. And, this is one of those things that, an individual going out and cleaning up the road right away, it's like picking up old McDonald cups off the side of the road, whatever the case may be. And I don't mean to disparage McDonald's, but, you just get into a drone-like fashion and you reach down and grab something. And in this case, he actually felt like he was being electrocuted. And we've had signs that have been hooked up with batteries or electrical, low-grade electrical power. And when he let go thinking he was getting shocked, he realized that blood had just splattered all over the door of his truck, and looked at his hand and on his way to Huron Valley Hospital. He's back to work. He's fine. He will have follow-up. There is nerve damage now. It's not healing well. He's lost the sensation of touch. Hopefully it's temporary. But again, we will follow the chain of evidence. We will follow the process of investigation and review, and we'll move forward from there. But if you see something, say something, and please, voice your opinions, but don't do something to harm anyone, is really what it comes down to.
Dave, despite the injuries to your employee,
Yeah.
I think that you guys are doing a great job keeping signs out of the right of way. It makes such a difference in the appearance of the roadways and the township. And frankly, it's a safety issue because the signs become so clogged at intersections that you can't make a safe observation. But beyond that, there's such a difference in Commerce Township versus other places that aren't as diligent keeping signs out of the right of way. And as important as the First Amendment is to a library and to a library board, there are limitations on that. And one of them is keeping signs out of the right of way. And I think the township looks a lot better. The roads certainly look a lot better and are safer. And I think you're to be congratulated on the way that the township is maintaining the roads.
Well, and I'm flattered that, for the comment. I will tell you that early in 2017, just after I came into office, it was very obvious that the citizens of Commerce Township want to have a clean community. They don't want to have the neighborhood littered. Unfortunately, as we've all seen, there are an awful lot of people out there that are just randomly placing signs. We're very adamant about not allowing them on township property, and we make all efforts possible. Since the injury, and I think it's worthy of sharing to the Library Advisory Board, because we do have things that occur where we're trying to publicize events that are going on, whether it's a future of meeting Santa at Byers Park, or an Easter egg hunt, or things that we do in our normal world and calendar. I've kind of taken an administrative stance that if you mow it, if you rake the leaves off it, you pick up the sticks and the pine cones, it's yours to use as a point of advertising your candidate. I don't want to see any of our staff walking into your yard or picking things up. So I'm kind of taking a different attitude of what I inherited. So if you mow it, you rake the leaves off it, you pick up the sticks or the pine cones, then as long as you're not obstructing the view of traffic, you can display. From a commercial dwelling, when we have whether it's a restaurant or a convenience store, strip mall, whatever it is, when those commercial entities come before the township to get licensed and get their site plan review, part of their site plan review is their signage. They're allowed X amount of square feet of signage. And if you want to use that to advertise your company, your restaurant, your convenience store, the service you provide, fantastic. If you want to waste that space and abandon it and use it for a political speech, I suppose that's your comment. But the abundance of litter on a commercial site isn't going to be tolerated. The residential, we're going to be a little more relaxed and cautious about. And the ultimate goal is, at the end of the day, giving the citizens what the citizens want, that being a clean, unobstructed view, which, thank you, Jason, for noticing. It does make a difference. And there are places, you can not to pick on our neighbors, I love our neighbors, but you can go north into White Lake Township and see an enormous difference in the placement of what I call litter.
Thank you. Anything else anybody want to say? Okay, we need
have-
to,
I have one thing, Barb.
Yeah.
I believe that this is Supervisor Scott's last meeting with us, isn't it? As
No,
a representative
December.
of the township.
Do we have another one? Do we have another one before November 20th?
oh, no.
Well, then I will regret leaving you behind. I wish Judy had come back to us and joined us more actively. And I can't thank you enough for the time that you have allowed me to participate in all of our events. I can assure you, I will come in and renew my library card. I am still going to be just down the street, and I will not abandon you. And if there's any project that I can be part of, I will be talking to Allison tomorrow, hopefully for a few minutes. I do think that one thing I'd like to share with the Library Advisory Board, we've never done it with the Township Community Library when we opened it. And since we have that beautiful crystal, and another thing that we should give a little credit to that maybe you all know, maybe you don't, there's a beautiful set of china there with quail and things of that nature that I think Miss Garbett may have had some intimate knowledge of. But I think our library is due. We've worked out the bugs. We've perfected a lot. We've added some amazing services with the drive-through window and things like that. I really think it's time that maybe in partnership with the K through 12 art exhibit or something, that we should be looking at some type of and I'll go big, black tie, wine tasting, formal fundraiser, something to generate a scholarship, an endowment. There are people out there waiting to reach out and embrace our community library and support it. Allison has obviously met that one family. I don't want to embarrass them and give them the respect that they deserve. But there are people that take great pride in what the library provides. And I think one way that we could take an evening out and really embrace and give them an opportunity to step forward and do more. So I would love to see the Library Advisory Board and our director possibly lead us to some type of a fundraiser scholarship fund. There's nothing that says we can't generate a fund for the Library Advisory Board to give out a $500 scholarship to one student from 3 high schools or a high school or a random drawn school. And I certainly would support something like that.
Well, and I can certainly help you with the Legacy Scholarship Fund,
Yep.
Allison. So if you are so inclined, I can do that.
We can start
Okay.
brainstorming that. That would be fun. And
Yeah.
a party would be wonderful as soon as we can have a gathering.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every day will feel like a party.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
I do agree. I do commend all of you for your commitment to our library, the Library Advisory Board, and the township. Though it may not be the flashiest, the most well attended, you are probably one of the most foundational, important structures we have in the community. So thank you for all of your service, and it's been an honor to be able to be part of your family for the last 4 years.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to make a motion for our recommendations to the Township Board on the 2 things we wish to purchase. So if someone would like to do that. Anybody?
Yeah, I make a motion that we forward to the Township Board our recommendation that so what were we doing? Purchasing?
Furniture.
Excuse me, Barb.
Yes.
I'm just going to take that motion and move it to recommendations to the Township Board. Is that okay?
That
Yeah,
would be
oh,
my
yes.
motion.
Yeah.
Cindy, it's
Okay.
amazing that you were able to Divine, exactly what I was about to say.
Okay.
So I motion by Pernick for the record.
And
Okay.
LaFawn seconds.
Second
Okay.
by Husak, is that right?
Okay,
So-
that's fine.
All right.
Cindy, do you think we need to do another vote, or are you just gonna move the one that they already did down?
I was just gonna
Yeah.
move the one they
Yeah.
did,
Okay, so we
Okay.
did it in the past. Good job, you
because
guys.
that's where it should have been.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, on other matters, I would just like to say about the little free library from the fire department. They were so wonderful. Someone donated the lumber to me, and with all of the things that they did to make a regular roof so that it would last forever, it's just wonderful. And I want you to know, Allison, Sharon, Vania really are the ones that started to nag them, but I did the other things, but you know that. So I told them I would be happy to kiss their feet, but I'd never get up again. So I just had to say thank you. That was it. So other than that, does anybody have any other matters?
Barb, I'll just jump on your other matter there with the tiny library. I can't wait to introduce, it'll probably be a little while before it comes into full fruition, on Pioneer Drive between Richardson and Martin Road. We have a group moving into Commerce Township with 84 Lumber. It is a lumber yard. The nearest one is in the Toledo area. They want to come into Commerce Township to develop a lumber yard. And I'm sure with the contacts that we've created there that there'll be some spare lumber for more tiny libraries when we need them.
Well, I'm ready. I've already taken the one I took out, that they took out, pardon me, I didn't do it, over to Mark, and I think that might be a good place to put it at the old township hall, because
Okay.
we want to work on that park a lot more, and
Yep.
more and more people are using that park. So we'll keep them on, but we don't want them to stay away from the library, so we've got to be careful, right, Allison?
Yeah, but a little library on every corner.
Yes.
That's not a bad thing.
Well, and it kind of goes, and I'll just share just as one of those motivational things, as we've discussed about a book stroll in several of our parks where we can have a pedestal and a plexiglass and a page of a book where the kids can go from point A to point B to C to D all the way through to read a book on a bike ride or a walk. It would be nice if we could come up with some type of a little directional wayfinding for every tiny library that says this is where you are and this is where the library is, so you know how to get all the way back. And I think it would kind of encourage some of our community tiny libraries, whether it's Gulf Manor in the playground, to let people know just a short distance away is the actual library.
Yes, and I have been to that library so many times, or out there at that pavilion for meetings this summer. I don't care what anybody says, our library is the center of this community. That's
Yeah.
all there is to it. Oh,
Let me
we should be grateful.
suggest this for the little libraries. If you put a geocaching cache in there
Mhm.
and then list that on a geocaching site, you could attract people to it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Oh, it is a really good idea, Jason. And we could also do the QR code where you, with your cell phone scanner, you could take a picture and it would give you a little more data or a story about where the tiny library came from, or
Right.
things of that nature.
How about a picture of Barb as the founder?
Yeah.
no, I want you to know that it's already on next door. That was put on this afternoon, so
Yep.
everybody knows there's a new one.
Great.
So anyway,
That's great. Thanks for everyone who helped with that.
okay. Do we have a motion to, any other matters? A motion to adjourn then?
Motion by
Shane makes
Pernick
a
to
motion
adjourn.
to adjourn.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Aye.
Seconds.
All right.
Okay,
Plenty.
gotta do a roll call here. Hiscox,
Aye.
Lackner,
Yes.
Scott,
Goodbye.
Aye.
LaFond,
Yes.
Pernick,
Yes.
Gerbit.
Yes.
All right,
It was,
guys.
it was nice to see you all, but I certainly would prefer